Okay, I'm only gonna say this once, so pay attention. I had a chocolate donut, a delicious, fresh chocolate donut with rainbow sprinkles downstairs on the counter. And 5 minutes ago, it mysteriously disappeared. Now, anybody that wants to come forward and admit that they ate my donut, you'll have to answer to MOGURA. Oh God, Barry! Oh Barry, hi, how you doing, Barry? You had my donut. Well, of course, that was your donut, Barry. I bought that donut for you. That delicious, dripping, fudgy, chocolatey donut. It was all for you, Barry. Yeah, okay. All right, so, adding a new item to the Tekking 101 Museum of Giant and Ridiculous Anime Weapons right next to Zabimaru and Yoru is Charlotte Katakuri's Mighty Trident Mogura, or Mole, as just the direct translation, but Mogura sounds cooler, you know? Alright, so I got this today in the mail, and I did a fan mail stream today and had that in there. It's very unwieldy. That's the one thing I come to. I always knock the ceiling with it whenever I'm, you know, holding the thing. I'm pretty short. I'm 5'5.5". And this thing is, like, I think I measured it at around 6 feet 6 inches, something like that. Keep in mind, Katakuri's, like, I actually wrote it down. He's 16 feet 8 inches tall, about 5 meters, okay? So this is still about, you know, just 10 feet shorter than him. Which isn't a big deal for Katakuri. He actually uses his mochi powers to actually store Mogura inside of his body, so you go up against him and you think he's unarmed at first. I mean, it doesn't really matter if he's armed or unarmed. The dude has the power of an awakened mochi fruit, and he has deadly jelly beans he can chuck at you. But if for some reason, if somehow you manage to get through the deadly jelly beans and also manage to fight him to the point where he gets tired of using his mochi, he can literally just at any time just gwomp a freaking giant trident out of his body and then just grab it and, you know, cut you up with that. So something interesting about Mogura, at least this design Mogura that I have right here, you may notice that the tip, or tips, I guess I should say, there are 3 of them, is a little different from the way that it looks in the manga and in the anime. So this actually is something weird that I didn't even really notice until I just started doing research on it just now, okay? So this is how Mogura looks in the manga. Alright, so here you can definitely see that the tips are all kind of like straight in one direction, sort of like more of like a traditional pitchfork kind of deal. And so in the manga, though, they're spaced out at like 45-degree angles. So you have like the center kind of spear tip, and then you have like a 45-degree angle where they kind of jut out. And the reason that that's the case is because techniques that involve Mogura usually involve Katakuri using his mochi powers like a spring. So he'll turn his arm into like a coiled piece of mochi, grab Mogura, and then he will spin it. That's kind of hard to do. Let me see if I can do it over here. So you can imagine, this thing looks intimidating on its own, but you can imagine if this thing is like spinning like a drill, you know, that would be very terrifying to get hit by this thing, okay? So it's terrifying enough when the blades are kind of like straight in one direction, but in the manga and in the anime, when the blades are kind of jutting out at that 45-degree angle and they spin, it's a much wider arc of like just bladey deathness. Okay, bladey deathness. Yes, bladey deathness! The new hit band! Okay, so the question is, though, I'm gonna take this off now. The question now, though, is how come this looks like the way it does? How come it has a different design there? Well, what I think happened was this. When the concept art was originally released for Katakuri in the anime, like before Katakuri properly appeared in the anime, they released it in Shonen Jump, like, here's the concept art for how Katakuri is going to appear in the anime. That's cool. It actually had this different version of Mogura. And I don't know what happened. Maybe the anime department got a mix-up or something. Maybe there was a memo or something that someone forgot to look at. Like, maybe someone had a memo that was like, Katakuri uses a trident as a weapon, and they didn't actually look at the trident, or they just glanced at the manga and they just made this instead. I don't know if Oda got involved and was like, hey, that's not what Katakuri's Mogura looks like. I don't know. But for whatever reason, this was the original concept art for Katakuri, and of course, in the actual anime, it looks, you know,
the same as it does in the manga, okay? So I'm thinking the company that made this, they saw the concept art and they immediately started making the cosplay props, like, based on that image, not based off of how it actually looks, okay? So, I mean, it's fine either way. It looks terrifying no matter what version you look at, but the version in the manga would have a much wider arc, so it would do a lot more damage. One of the prime techniques that Katakuri uses is mochi pounding or mochi thrust, and it's a really devastating technique that what he does is he takes his arm, he coils it like a drill, and he goes to like attack, like, pierce Luffy with it. The first time it was used against Luffy, Luffy dodged out of the way and the spear tip hit a wall in the mirror world, and because of that arc it left like a perfectly large, like, it was a huge like sphere in the freaking wall, like a circle, and the resulting, like, impact of it just blew out the back end of that wall. So it was literally just like a super powerful drill. I'm imagining friction also plays a big role in this too, if it's spinning so damn fast. Hits the wall, Luffy dodges it, he's like, well, that's a big hole in the wall. Boom! Kind of like that scene in Naruto, whenever Naruto and Sasuke are, charging, like, Naruto! Sasuke! And they're charging at each other on the hospital roof, and Naruto's using Rasengan and Sasuke's using Chidori. Kakashi grabs them and throws them into the water towers. At first glance, it seemed like Naruto's, like, the damage he dealt wasn't a big deal, it was just a little dent, but then you see the back end of that water tower just got blown out from the back. That's essentially how that technique works, right? So, rather terrifying. Now, Katakuri didn't reveal this until, I can't do that. Now, something you can do is that there's like a little plastic tube here, so I can't actually take it apart. So, boom, Katakuri, new weapon. It's like a separating, like a bow staff or something. This would actually be a cool way to fight. And maybe the back of this could like a little, like a knife or like a spear tip could pop out of this end, and then you could fight like that. There you go. So just for the sake of being able to show you the tip, I'm going to disassemble it here for a moment. Okay. So, he didn't, immediately go to Mogura, so you could definitely tell that Katakuri, that just based on his personality, and from what we find out about him throughout the fight with Luffy, he's definitely someone that, when he gets to the point where he respects his opponent, he goes all out, and he also gets to that point of like, okay, this isn't just random riffraff, this is actually going to be a real opponent for me. I'm going to go all out, I'm going to use my awakening powers, I'm going to use Mogura, I'm going to use every trick that I got in order to fight against this person, and also, I want it to be a fair fight. So the whole thing with Flampe showing up and attacking Luffy with the darts and everything, that really pissed Katakuri off, and, of course, Katakuri also has the Conqueror's Haki, used that against Luffy as well, so it was like clashing, like black lightning, it was crazy, right? So, yeah, he takes out Mogura, uses it against Luffy, uses a few techniques against him before he announces what its name actually is. It's like, this is my weapon, Mogura. Tell me, Straw Hat Luffy, what limbs are you not very attached to? So I may slice them off one at a time. Now, we don't know if it's a ranked blade, if it's a Meito. I would assume it probably is, though. Especially since we're getting into the part of the story, we're getting more and more into, like, the latter stages of the One Piece story, and we're at Wano now, and all these different Meito are being revealed left and right at Wano. I would understand that, like, Oda would want to reveal more of at least the Owazamono, and definitely all of the Saijo Owazamono ranked blades. Not saying that Mogura is a Saijo, I mean, that's really going crazy with it, but there's 21 Owazamono grade weapons, bladed weapons in the world. They're not necessarily all katanas or swords, like, for example, Murakumo Giri, Whitebeard's weapon, which, by the way, I ended up getting that. I still have to paint it. I still have to paint that bush axe, and eventually, I guess, I already did a video on Murakumo Giri. I was thinking about doing a video just on Whitebeard's youth, maybe when he was, like, in his prime, like, prime Whitebeard video, and then I'll have that be Sento, the Naginata, for that Murakumo Giri. But that wasn't a katana, and that was a Saijo, okay? So Mogura, considering we still have a good chunk of the Owazamonos, those weapons, we know Shusui is one, Enma is one, Ame no Habakiri is one, Wado Ichimonji. We know, like, pretty much every sword that Zoro has at this point, except for the Sandai, is an Owazamono, and there's a few other that are Owazamonos. But you know what? I would be okay with this one being an Owazamono as well. Or a Ryo-Wazamono, because Ryo-Wazamonos are that rank, I think there's like 50 of them or some such. That was the same rank Yubashiri was in. And keep in mind, the rank of the sword does not necessarily mean like Katakuri's a really strong guy. He can only wield, like Mogura, in order to be as strong as it is, has to be an Owazamono. It can't be anything less. That's not what Oda's going for here, and you can look at that with Zoro. Zoro wields a Wazamono, the Sandai Katetsu. Zetsu, the lowest of ranked blades, and I think he's getting pretty damn far with that lowest of ranked blades, you know what I'm saying? So, Mogura, it could be a Wazamono, it could be the lowest ranked blade, it's just wielded by Katakuri, it's a deadly weapon, alright? It doesn't change that. But now, I would be happy with it being Wazamono, and that also would show that Luffy went up against that kind of threat. That'd be pretty cool there. Something else I was also thinking about, and this is just more discussing on, you know, Katakuri and Luffy's fight, because there's been debates with that for the years, and, you know, how exactly that ended, and, you know, did Katakuri let Luffy win, or, you know, if it wasn't for Katakuri taking that wound onto himself, you know, would Luffy have won in that way? You know, because Katakuri, he took this, I think it was still the same technique that he used to destroy that wall, it's just Luffy kind of managed to semi-dodge it. What I mean is, Katakuri took the weapon, spun it like this, like the drill, and went to go impale Luffy with it. Luffy jumped out of the way, but it still hit him right here, and so it like spun, it like blasted out like a big chunk out of Luffy's abdomen, like, your kidneys are here, right? So, pretty sure Luffy has a kidney blasted out of him at that one particular instance. But this is One Piece, of course, we're talking about, so Luffy doesn't really even so much have a scar, I think, at the end of that fight. Does he have a scar? We saw Luffy running around Wano without a shirt for a good chunk of that while he was in the Udon prison. I don't remember seeing a scar on the side of his body, right? So, I guess he perfectly healed. He's like, you got half of your abdomen, not half, but it's like, you got a big chunk of your abdomen blasted out of you. Nah, I got better. I slept a little. I'd had a long rest. Chopper had some medicine for me. I took some Tylenol. Woke up the next day, I was fine, drank my milk, I'm good. But anyway, people say that, like, okay, Luffy took that serious injury right there to the side of his body. In the moment, it was really serious. And so then Flampe got involved. Katakuri felt like it wasn't a fair fight, so he took Mogura, and then he impaled himself, like the same kind of wound that Luffy had, to make the fight fair. So there's still debates about that to this day, if Katakuri didn't do that, or if Katakuri just... Let me put it this way. Let's say Katakuri was not the honorable fighter that he was in the latter part of that fight. Let's say he didn't care about that. Let's say he didn't care about Flampe getting involved. He's like, yeah, Flampe, help me out defeat this guy. He's getting annoying, or whatever. He didn't respect Luffy. If Katakuri just went full power against him, just relentless, just like relentlessly beat down on Luffy, even more so than he already did, would have Luffy still won? That's a question. Something else I came up with today, because it seems like every time I talk about Katakuri, I've made so many damn videos about him. But I got Mogura today. Come on, I gotta make a Katakuri video when I get damn Mogura in the mail. But another thing I started thinking about was like, okay, Luffy was actually really, really lucky to be fighting him in the mirror dimension, because it was a long fight. It lasted like 12 hours or some such, but it was not 12 continuous hours, because Luffy grabbed a hold of Brûlé and kept jumping into the mirrors, kind of to like stall a little bit or kind of catch his breath and heal up and get his hockey power back so he can jump back in the mirror. Now Luffy, just by his personality, Luffy is not going to run away from a fight. Luffy is not just going to be like, man, Katakuri's too strong, I gotta get the hell out of here, I'm gonna find some house to hide in until it's 1 a.m. and then I'm gonna get to Cacao Island. No. Luffy's not like that. Luffy's like, yeah, Katakuri, you sit tight for 10 minutes, I'll get my hockey back, I'm gonna come right back in here and beat your ass. And then he does that, and then he uses his hockey, he's like, okay, I'm gonna jump out again. So, we don't know exactly how many times Luffy did this, but it happened more than once, where Luffy was fighting against Katakuri, and then jumped out into the mirror world, kind of caught his breath a little bit, jumped back in, continued the fight, and everybody knew at this point that they were heading to Cacao Island. You know, the whole Big Mom crew knew, Brûlé already relayed that information, so Katakuri knew what he was going to do, but Katakuri knew that it's like, okay, in order for Luffy to get to Cacao Island, he's gonna have to go through the mirror world. And I'm just going to stay put in the mirror world and use my godly observation hockey. The second he pops back into this mirror dimension, I'm going to know exactly where he is, and the fight can resume, right? So I guess I guess another thing, you know, Katakuri could have done to just, you know, save everybody time is Katakuri could have just went to Cacao Island, kind of like Oven, and just waited by the damn mirror, like, because Oven smashed all the mirrors on the island, had that one big mirror in the plaza. Katakuri could have just sat there and just waited with Mogura, but that's not how Katakuri does things. That's just not really his thing. Something else about Katakuri is he has that facade to put on of, like, I am the perfect big brother in all situations. I never lie down on my back. So he always has to impress, like, his younger siblings of like, I'm always the man of action, I'm always going to be the person that's going to charge into the fray, you know, this pirate Straw Hat Luffy is causing problems, don't worry about it, brothers and sisters, I got it. I'll take care of it. So that's another reason why he probably felt like it necessary to hang out in the mirror world and fight Luffy there until he was finally finished off. Of course, throughout the fight, Luffy started to show more of his personality to Katakuri, and Katakuri started to realize, like, you know what, this isn't just like some random runt that's managing to escape my blows. It's not just by accident. This guy's got some skill. And he's got rubber powers, and I kind of have like an upgraded version of rubber powers. I have mochi powers. You know what? You know what? I think I'll have a fair fight with this kid, right? But if Luffy did not fight against Katakuri in the mirror dimension, let's say they just fought in like a not even really an open area, but just an area like enclosed in like Whole Cake Chateau or something, like just an enclosed room or something where Luffy couldn't easily skip out and heal and get a little bit of rest and then jump back in whenever he wanted. Let's say Luffy didn't have that scenario. What about Katakuri winning then? I feel like hard to believe that in every single scenario, like if Katakuri and Luffy fought like 100 times, Luffy would beat him every single time. I think Katakuri would have a fair chunk of victories there. You know what I'm saying? I brought this up in a video a couple weeks back when I was talking about like Luffy, how strong he is, like what like Laugh Tail Luffy is gonna be like how strong Luffy's gonna be at Laugh Tail. And I brought up that, like, okay, Luffy is probably going to have an awakened power of the Gamu Gamu no Mi by then. I think that's fair to say that he would have that. But, you know, awakening his powers is obviously going to be something a little tricky. It's not going to be something Luffy can just, I mean, he could work on it on his own and he would probably improve. But if time is of the essence here and we got to hurry up and get him stronger faster, it would help to have somebody that could help Luffy with awakening. So somebody that has awakened their fruit before, i.e. Katakuri, and somebody that has a fruit that's very similar to Luffy. Katakuri is a special paramecia, Mochi Mochi no Mi user, that has the ability to basically do every rubber-based ability that Luffy can do. Luffy can enhance his, like, increase his bone size with Gear 3rd. Katakuri can do the same thing. So, Katakuri can do Elephant Gun. I mean, he would call it something different, but he could do Elephant Gun. Same thing with Luffy. He can add Haki to his fists. And in fact, Katakuri's is even more malleable, because he can make different shapes. Like, he can turn his body into, like, the square mochi to have more, like, you know, make it more rigid and more, like, you know, you ever take a Lego, you ever step on a Lego, or you ever get, like, Legos thrown at your face? You know, that's Katakuri's square punch mochi. You know what I mean? So, and Oda's mentioned this before, how certain devil fruits have, like, upgraded or elevated versions. So the elevated version of the Yuki Yuki no Mi, Monet's Logia, is Aokiji's Hi no Mi, his Chili Chili fruit, also a Logia. The Tun Tun fruit, Mock Vice's fruit, is an upgrade of Miss Valentine's Day's Kilo Kilo no Mi. You know? So, yeah, you have all that going on, and the Mochi Mochi no Mi is just the natural upgraded version of the Gamu Gamu no Mi. Doesn't necessarily mean that the user of the Mochi Mochi no Mi is always going to be stronger than the user of the Gamu Gamu no Mi. It just means you have a natural advantage, but you could still win. Think about it like in Pokemon standards. Let's say you have a water-type Pokemon that goes up against an electric-type Pokemon. Understandably, you would say the electric-type Pokemon has the advantage. But in the situation here, let's say your water-type Pokemon, let's say you have a Blastoise that is level 80 up against a Raichu that's level 25. In that situation, even though Raichu has the elemental advantage, I would still go with the Blastoise. You know, kind of the same thing with Katakuri and Luffy. Katakuri has had his Mochi powers for, I think, he got him when he was 5, and he's 48 now. So 43 years. 43 years he has had his Mochi powers. He has trained with his Mochi powers. He was a member of a Yonko crew, so he's got other people that are really strong to spar with and train with and everything like that, and he awakened his powers, same as Doflamingo. So I would definitely say that, yeah, in that one particular instance, yeah, his Mochi was stronger than Luffy's rubber, just because if it was flipped and, you know, Katakuri was only 20 years old and Luffy was 48 years old and he had trained with the Gamu Gamu no Mi for years and he awoke in the Gamu Gamu no Mi, I would say Luffy was, you know, naturally stronger in that instance. Experience is a huge factor here, which is why I think Oda felt like Katakuri losing in a way that's just like a straight up brawl 100% with like no respect, no caring about like other people getting involved. If he had him there, you know, Luffy just win, it might not look too good on Katakuri. It's something weird because it's like Katakuri is so damn strong. I feel like he really could have just decimated Luffy. Maybe I'm underselling Luffy here, but I really feel like Katakuri could just, like, could have killed Luffy. Like, if we're being straight up. Like, you saw that thing, right? You saw the drill thing that hit the wall. That hit Luffy dead on right here in the center of the chest. Luffy's dead, okay? I don't care. We saw him clash with armament hockey. It really seemed like, in most respects, Katakuri was stronger than Luffy. It's just that Luffy has a thing where if he fights his opponent for a long time, he starts to pick up on their skills, starts to learn a little bit more about their abilities. In this case, observation. He kind of flashed back to Rayleigh. Once again, Luffy had the advantage of jumping in and out of the mirror world every now and then to kind of rest and recover his haki. But I just feel like, you know, if Katakuri was more ruthless, and if Luffy was fighting in a place where he couldn't retreat easily, Luffy goes gear 4th, fights against Katakuri a little bit. They're both at full power when they start the fight. After Luffy loses gear 4th power, he can't use haki for 10 minutes. There's no legion of gladiators around to help him like at Dressrosa. And if Katakuri was truly ruthless, like, oh, you're out of haki, huh? Yeah. Can I just chill out behind that rock for 10 minutes? Alright, that's taken care of. I feel like, you know, Luffy kind of got plot armored a little bit in that fight, you know, just a little bit, right? It would be really cool, though, to see Katakuri fight against, like, a member of the Blackbeard crew where he doesn't have to worry about, like, I respect you as a warrior or anything like that. Like, if he fought against, you know, Shiryu or somebody, like, that would be a really cool fight, because Shiryu doesn't really have any respect. He'll backstab you. He doesn't care. So, like, a full out, like, okay, I can go, you know, I don't have to worry about respecting my enemy. I'll just go, like, full out. I have to eliminate you as quickly as possible. That would be neat. I also did that video where Katakuri fought against Doflamingo. I did a crossover battle with that. Not really a crossover battle, but I did a hypothetical battle with that. And something else I also got today in the mail. Man, I wish I would have held off on doing that video, man. Same thing with the Murakumogiri thing. I wish I would have held off on that until I got that bush axe. But now, I mean, come on. Come on. I think I pretty much have to redo that Doflamingo Katakuri versus battle video now, right? I mean, come on. Alright, well anyway, that was the video on Mogura, and also just kind of delving a little bit more into the fight that Luffy and Katakuri had. Let me know how you feel below, if Luffy maybe got a little plot armored in that fight, or Katakuri could have won if he was a little bit more ruthless with it, or if he just didn't care about Flampe getting involved. Because if he just didn't care about Flampe attacking him, and Luffy got knocked down, and, you know, Katakuri was just with the drill, I'm like, yeah, see how he could have gotten out of that if it wasn't for the whole him being the main character thing. But anyway, thanks for watching the video, everyone. This will be Teching 101 signing out. Barry, can I have just a bite of that donut? Just a bite. I'm just gonna have a single bite, Barry. You can have the rest, okay?